Hey guys, Detective Fail here, or DF for short. Hope you're doing well. Back with another review. This time on Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. Let's get started. In an IGN interview conducted last year, when asked about Armored Core 6's approach to difficulty, Masaru Yamamura, director of Armored Core 6, replied, "What we wanted to focus on was really intense and tough mecha battles. We have generally tried to keep it on the challenging side, but it's not to say that it's a flat difficulty line throughout. We wanted to have some nice tempo changes and some nice mix to the difficulty and the level of challenge." End quote. My dude, you did it. I can't get enough of these clashes, intense 1v1 duels where overwhelming forces meet nimble mercenaries evading missile barrages and bullets galore. Mini-bosses are spared no expense either, feeling menacing and tough to beat without the right setup. I probably would have sweated buckets, straining my body and mind to the very limit. I'm so engrossed to the extent I am reminiscing the good old days from AC Last Raven and AC For Answer. I already completed everything I could within 3 playthroughs. Now I'm soaring across Rubicon skies again in my 4th run. Armored Core is back, blazing, burning, and brightly across nearly all points. If that's not enough to get your engines running hot, remember Rainn Wilson from Mechless Mutual has you covered. Dude seems familiar, probably from some Office TV show. For those who don't know Armored Core in general, it is primarily a third-person mecha shooting game. You control a silent protagonist who pilots an AC, accepting corporate contracts, building up funds, and in doing so, retool their mech when needed. The story is not the strongest you could entice anyone to dip in my opinion, and the IP isn't renowned to resonate with everyone due to mediocre scores, outside of outliers. Yet despite all odds, the latest installment blasts beyond the mediocre to land among the highest of highs. Penetrating through the nicheness of a 26-year-long legacy and still retain the #1 spot in the UK, proving without a shadow of doubt FromSoftware has clearly learned from their past mistakes. Armored Core 6's story pulverizes its way to being one of the strongest I've witnessed thus far, and it means a lot compared to previous plot beats. A satisfying gameplay loop emerges in a multitude of factors. The extensive customization and equipping light, medium, and heavy parts to outfit your robot killing machine. Think of it as post-apocalypse deadly Legos, except building a mech 20 to 50 times the size of humans. Become a bulky tank capable of withstanding the hardest of blows. Go for a tetrapod, think crab legs, and hover in the air, taunting peons below who can't reach you. Go beyond and embrace the small and nimble builds to become an ace. Ace combat? Close man, except you can pilot it and shoot any kind of weapons you can think of. Plasma blades, shotguns, Gatling guns, rifles, missiles, bazookas, shields, etc. Forget the robots of the past moving at a sloth's pace, as if you're a mech warrior. No man. Front mission? Well, I'm excited we're getting a front mission too soon. No sir, not turn-based. Well, how about Xenomechs? Getting warmer, my friend. What Armored Core excels beautifully is the sheer mobility you can outfit in nearly any direction. They're the only franchise I've played thus far within the genre to go insane in movement, whereas others take a different approach, going for heavy mechs. Armored Core has no qualms about letting you fly like a Gundam or Macross unit, and I, for one, am here for it. Combat is frenetic, chaotic, and incredibly dangerous. Show no mercy against hordes of mechanized enemies. Head into a facility to wipe out pesky spider units. Blast foolish laser bugs in the air. Fight epic duels versus other mercenaries to the point of being outgunned and outmatched. Not always though. Face off in epic David vs. Goliath meets Shadow of the Colossus robot type battles. Yeah, I kid you not, look up at the big machines dwarfing your size to the point if they land on you, the aftermath will show nothing but bent, broken machine parts lying on the ground. Armored Core 6 is no different from its predecessor, but there's a catch. For the first time, we're not on Earth, huh? We're on Rubicon 3, so a new playground awaits us. Coral, a substance found on the planet, is discovered to be both an energy source and a data conduit, becoming a hot item to advance humanity further by leaps and bounds in the technology sector. Perfect our plans to proceed on the transhuman until the research causes the fires of Ibis to occur, combusting the surrounding systems to flames. 50 years later, Coral has been detected once again on Rubicon, and so begins the rush of corporations heading there to utilize Coral and restart their selfish endeavors regardless of the planet's inhabitants' wishes. As augmented human C4621, callsign Raven, you follow orders from a handler named Walter, accepting contracts in the hope you will become free someday. That's the gist you need to know to get started. Building on the older blueprints in the series, there are so many callbacks from AC2 to Verdict Day, and probably more from the PS1 games, but I still need to play those one day. I'm quite astounded at the sheer effort FromSoftware crafted, not so much to inject nostalgia bait, but carefully done so I'm not in a reference-filled theme park. Taking lessons in the Souls-born aspects, Sekiro, and heck, Daemon X Machina, an anime-like AC game in all but name, is spared no expense. And the result is quite remarkable. Sekiro's posture and stagger are reformed, called ACS, Attitude Control System. Once an enemy craft accumulates enough damage, they are left in a staggered state, becoming immobilized, and any incoming damage transforms into critical hits, effectively harming the unit a great deal. After a short period of time, they can regain their normal status, and thus you must break their ACS again. A wonderful rule to abuse against foolish adversaries. Personally, haven't seen such a regulation in older titles. Fights escalate, becoming strategic and wary. You are not exempt from the rule, so watch the ACS bar. Moving on. Felt Daemon X Machina inspiration, which is ironic since they look at Armored Core for inspiration. Mainly the banter and colorful cast, full of interesting personalities and a pleasant range of voices to keep them distinct. Hearing Michigan's voice akin to a drill sergeant praising you while delivering lines of "maggot" lives in my head rent free. Rubbing steel arms with fellow mercs, becoming buddies. However, every so often certain individuals are slow to the point of snails and irritating, bringing all the arrogance to show the superiority to you. Yet this doesn't detract from the personal buddies, which is such a rare sight to see in an AC game. I love it. A better attempt than past operators sounding your ears off in a monotonous voice. Repair kits are something I never expected, but holy moly, after using them, I'm 1000% on board. Should be a mainstay in the franchise. Please, Hidetaka Miyazaki, I'm begging you. Granted, pilots only hold 3 charges, and no, we can't upgrade them like in the Souls IP. like 10 in our pouches to chug. Honestly, I'm still in disbelief we possess essentially mecha Estus. What? Oh, WD-40 mixed with an elixir of life? But hey, I'm not complaining. The inclusion of the feature works wonders to recover your extra armor points to live. Also, Human Plus is back. Kinda. By defeating opponents in the arena, you gain operating system chips to buy and upgrade your mech, granting passive skills you don't need to equip except core expansions. Amplifying the damage done in various categories. Kinetics? Sure. Plasma? Sure. Explosions? Buddy, sign me up. There's more to unlock, but suffice it to say, outside of these elements, all upgrades you buy are permanent. Meaning I see no reason not to undertake the arena to finish off all opponents. And in turn, upgrade your body. Trust me, increasing repair kit recovery is a godsend. Moreover, missile superiority is packing heavy blows, reminding me of AC-2 missiles. Along with fascinating villain present makes a triumphant return, and solid variety in missions. Demonstrate consistent superb points across the board, to the extent objective parameters are given fair treatment. Defend against waves of enemies, stealth tasks, escaping a map, etc. My nostalgia is somehow stroked. Alongside certain themes cheekily reappears in another faction. AC Nexus isn't spared either. The soundtrack gives off extremely high quality tracks I'm already listening to outside of playing. Armored Core 4 answer Primal Armor makes a wonderful return, now called Assault Armor. Want to surprise attackers by making a 360-degree explosion around your AC? Boy oh boy, are they in for one hell of a wake-up call. Armored Core 5 in Verdict Day scan mode is, by the gods, gone. No longer a mandatory function, instead serving as an optional scan mode to display details in your surrounding environment, highlighting foes, caches for weaponry, data logs, etc. Last generation games feature a resupply option called workshop sites, now reconfigured whenever a long operation occurs. You could resupply and regain all ammo and AP. No cost is necessary. Hell, one of my favorites in the IP is implementing multiple endings alongside multiple routes, and I am overjoyed beyond the sun to tell you we're in the hot seat once again. Taking cues from Last Raven and 4 Answer, routes reappear, reasonably simplified and improved in several respects. I found it hauntingly familiar to how the Nier series implements them. I like witnessing all the endings, and the progression is slightly altered via the storytelling. If I were to rate them, I'd say New Game Plus Plus is equal to New Game Plus, but greater than New Game. The New Game is still good in my books. I'll talk further later since I feel it is an improvement, but there are a few things to be concerned about. Level design has changed to incorporate a denser, larger area to cover. Maps are wide and brimming with intricate detail. Broken machinery litter landscapes, and factories in production continue to function even if a tourist is snooping around where they shouldn't. Complemented well by smooth transitions into small pathways, corridors instill a claustrophobic nature, bringing spice to the environmental eye candy, and hell, you might see a surprise or two when you see advanced set pieces. Ambushed by an AC duel out of nowhere, receive enemy reinforcements part way through a job, or encounter divergent objectives throughout. Not all assignments are long to beat. A careful balance emerges to complete levels in less than 5 minutes or greater, depending how many times you reload a checkpoint or comb every inch of a place. Simple objectives in the beginning gradually increase in complexity as you delve further in a playthrough, nudging the player to overcome challenges, testing them thoroughly to prove they have the skill and fortitude to go beyond. If one lacks in talent, they can make up for it through different builds and playstyle. Of course, results may vary. Just because I had a fine time isn't the same for others. In addition to open zones, there are plenty of data logs to find, detailing lore and individuals in the world, combat logs by defeating mobs of opponents, and I must say the opponent variety is plenty. So you won't get bored seeing number 1, then number 2, then number 3. No complaints about their design after 59 assignments. I'm hungry to defeat anything in front of me. The soundtrack, composed by Kota Hoshino, Takashi Onodera, and Shoei Miyazawa, is just as marvelous as their predecessors, evoking senses of Blade Runner, Portal, and The Division. Hearing things and New Era, for example, convey robust unity and constantly reinforce the numerous allusions and references I found to excellent effect. Inserting Elden Ring vibes into the mix sneakily. I'm astounded at the level of quality. Post-punk, trance, monosynth, and dark synth waves combined in an unexpected product, resulting in an eerie yet soulful and tranquil sound. A consistent flow in haunting rhythms I found to be oddly mesmerizing, luring me deeper to embrace not only the twisted sense of tension throughout, yet doesn't detract at all by transforming the whole soundtrack into pleasant humming heavens. A small number of tracks are jazzy and uplifting to the beat. A wonderful surprise, providing a nice change of pace in the otherwise somber and atmospheric themes permeating. Overall, I believe the soundtrack largely succeeds in conveying a sense of loneliness, nostalgia, wrapped in a dark, old sci-fi feel. Well done. I'm also very satisfied with the console port on my PlayStation 4 Pro. Had one crash in my third playthrough, but the rest of my runs have been smooth, so maybe an outlier. Did not experience any bugs or glitches, which I am super thankful for, and I am extremely impressed by how fast menus load. Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day took their sweet time from the starting screen to the main menu and the following notifications popping up, connecting to the internet and adding unnecessary filler. Thankfully, none of that bull is here. Enter the menu and bam, we're in the garage. Sick. Despite all the praise I've been endlessly pulling, I must talk about my mixed feelings. Not a positive or negative, but for the sake of transparency, I'll state them below. First, the implementation of new game cycles could be better. Players need to take certain missions in a manner to achieve the new game and new game plus ending, taking the opposite operations in the second run for the others. Once these two requirements are met, a new path will emerge to unlock New Game plus. It should be noted, starting a second playthrough upon beating New Game reinstates the protagonist right after tutorial, requiring them to complete old missions and adding more than a handful of unfamiliar assignments included. Finishing New Game Plus rewards extra exclusive missions to complete. I had to follow PowerPix's guides for all endings, and one to make sure I finished all the engagements correctly in a manner leaving no doubt for me to head to the final route. I highly recommend looking up a guide for both to not mess up. I feel the punishment for not going in the manner intended will cause possible frustration to restart and play an unnecessary fourth operation. During my time playing, I was ruminating possible alternatives. Highlight completed ones, include a warning or another tutorial to inform mercenaries of the unique quests. There are no multiple saves to rely on. You get one save, so make it count. Unless you like backing up your save constantly. Wish the method was easier to prevent accidents, therefore allowing anyone to start a fresh operation painlessly. The illusion of safe difficulty throughout is blown to bits upon encountering the first boss. The devs have little sympathy whatsoever for throwing you to the pits in one of the hardest fights in the beginning and asks us to defeat them with starting equipment. Imagine an armed Megatron versus a no-weapon Bumblebee. Such a decision seems to be deliberate to convey how future encounters can be, aligning with Yamamura's decision earlier. And he does succeed, since I've read countless rants, criticism, angry responses, and complaints ad nauseum. The developer team's intention doesn't always pan out to the masses. So what's the solution? Another mode? Easy mode? Doubt it. Soulsborne plus Sekiro and Armored Core I played don't contain those options available. So what's next? Well, they contain an in-depth tutorial archive alongside training quests to bring fresh pilots up to speed, and I found their inclusion to be extremely welcoming. Easy accessibility to refer to the archive and see mechanics I can take advantage of. They specifically mention changing your build if you're having trouble. Past entries had players accruing depth, now it is no longer possible. Retry errands to your heart's content to earn sufficient funds. The added checkpoints, assembly of parts, repair kits, and passive skills via OS tuning create a fair parameter to redo engagements, lessening the tediousness and frustration by starting square one again. In effect, the quality of life features make the hardest nails bouts fairer than before. I still maintain Last Raven is the hardest entry in the franchise, while Armored Core 6 by comparison hits the halfway point to the zenith of Last Raven. Moving on. To remove any misconceptions, I am not defending Yamamura's decision, merely trying to explain there are avenues within to help consumers interested in buying or trying out the new installment. I didn't come out unscathed either. The first boss and each chapter's end baddie demonstrate a higher ceiling to break through, so I'm worried the latest title might be a little too hard. Nevertheless, I am not saying get good. I hate the phrase a lot when a person who needs help asks generally and is given a troll meme response. Let us be better and lend a helping hand to those who wish to pilot an AC alongside us, who continues to struggle. Responses such as, "I wish you luck," "Keep on trying," "Don't lose hope," "Change your builds," "Sell equipment and try other weapons," "Replaying operations is a great way to earn money and some can be done in less than 2 to 3 minutes. These are far better responses. Arena I think could have had more substance, felt it was lacking compared to previous ones, pushed the AI to its limits to challenge us further, expose us to similar adversaries like Z and KJ. I'll detail who they are later in a paste bin along with my final thoughts on the story. Or throw a big wrench and add 2v1, 3v1, or 4v1 conflicts to truly test a player's capabilities. A boss rush mode to practice against arduous enemies instead of having to restart from the beginning during a task before combating the big baddie. Additionally, I wish multiplayer was expanded instead of 1v1 or 3v3 duels. Grant us co-op missions online or offline and set up super bosses and Shadow of the Colossus like robots. In Armored Core Verdict Day, we faced off a version of Mother Will as a team. Why can't we do the same in the latest title? I'd love to face off our previous opponents beside my teammates. Damon X Machina had co-op super clashes to tackle, and I thought they were incredibly eye candy, altered elements, and most of all were not present at all in the main story. They push pilots to cooperate, and in doing so defeat them. Makes me think much of the effort was in the single player portion, a factor I deeply appreciate. And so, my final score for Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is a 9 out of 10. Despite all of these hurdles, it doesn't diminish the sheer strengths too much. Armored Core 6 takes all the best qualities since its inception and hones the edge of its moonlight blade so hard, I am in awe of it. Bear witness and see how ravens fly above blood-red skies fearlessly, embracing stronger than usual story, gratifying content in both gameplay options and combat, an excellent soundtrack, and worthwhile quality of life options. Rides the fine line of integrating nostalgia but has enough to stand on its own, expansive levels to explore, fight, and discover hidden secrets, memorable cast, both likable and detestable, fair but challenging difficulty next to an expansive number of customization options for your robot body, high replayability and little to no performance bugs, glitches, mishaps, all collide to a must-play for any newcomer or veteran. Easy recommendation to fans and enthusiasts within the niche genre to see all endings, overcoming multiple tall walls to reach what I firmly believe is one of the best Armored Core entries I've played thus far. A return to form by FromSoftware. Bravo, Masaru, Yamamura, and his team. Looking forward to your future works as director. This title boldly demonstrates there is still a thriving market for the genre in the video game industry, and I, for one, am standing right beside them, waving in my cheerleading outfit to ask other devs to achieve similar levels of greatness. And while there are plenty of mecha titles to watch out for, I, for one, highly anticipate a sequel since history has shown evidence to import our equipment and continue the storyline. Good chance to expect one. Excuse me while I play Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon for a fourth bloody time. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and take care.